We're going to need this bloke to lift us off the canvas, so to speak, Brian. That's what we're trying to do here. And we're talking about the great man himself, Mark Bosnich. And I'm pleased to say for Stan Sport, he is on the line. Hey, Boz.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Oh, going good. What did you do yesterday, Boz? Where did you go? The birdcage
yesterday? No, nothing like that. No, nothing like that. I haven't been to Melbourne for a bit of time. I always loved the Melbourne Cup, there's no doubt, but I don't think it's got quite the same allure now, and that's I think because of the Everest. I think that's just my feeling anyway. But look, it's always a traditionally great day here in Australia. I actually went to a Gut Foundation lunch. That was very good, and done my training as usual. I went to the fish market, Fletch, which I didn't see you at.
No,
got myself ready for all the games that were on this morning, and for tomorrow morning, and for Friday morning as well.
Just before we get into that, what's the Gut Foundation? What are they doing?
Well, Dr. Ross Walker, who's on 2GB on a Sunday night, if people listen to him, he's an excellent proponent of. He's a cardiologist of all types of health, and he's the chairman of the foundation. And it's basically to do with everything, to do with your stomach. And so my speech was about the link between the stomach, as we know, both of you know. In sport, we do so much work on the core, on the outside, but on the inside, it's so important because it can contribute to so many problems. And everyone is different in terms of their genes and their hormones and what they're perhaps resistant to or not. So it's very, very important. Pretty much everything in terms of health can start from there.
I do listen to that cardiologist, and he's a big advocate of taking Viagra.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I listened to him on the Sunday coming home. Geez, where are you? Where are you, Boz?
At a windy place here in Daceyville.
Sounds like you're hang
my boy train. Yeah. No, it feels like that with the wind. These clouds look threatening. I can tell you.
All right. Yeah, we don't want to get threatened by anything. Just get into it. Where do you want to start, mate? Where do you want to start?
Well, we'll start with a game that we chose this morning, which was a fantastic game between AC Milan and Paris Saint-Germain. And this is in the toughest group. They call it the group of death. The other two teams are Dortmund and Newcastle. Newcastle lost to Dortmund earlier on. And Milan, who basically really had to do something, pulled off a magnificent performance to win 2-1. And they hadn't won in 6 games. So it was a bit of an underdog story. And PSG still, as good as they were, still not looking quite the team that you think, are they going to, reach their holy grail and go on and win it? So they're doing well in the French league. But this is the second loss that they've suffered so far in this tournament. The other great story from this morning was Shakhtar Donetsk beating Barcelona. And Shakhtar Donetsk haven't played at home for 2 years. And they've had to sell pretty much all of their players. And for them to beat Barcelona, the game was played in Hamburg, obviously. That was another fantastic story. In terms of the other games, pretty much Manchester City guaranteed their spot with an easy win over your team, Fletch, Young Boys.
Yeah,
and Leipzig as well, the same group. Lazio beat Feyenoord 1-0. Celtic still haven't won a game in the Champions League since 2017. They got beat 6-0 away from home from Atletico Madrid. Although, to be fair, they did have a player sent off, but rightly so, Maeda in the first half. And in Barcelona and Shakhtar's group, FC Porto beat Antwerp 2-0. So that makes that group a little bit, we thought Barcelona win, they guarantee their position, but now they just got to look over their shoulder a little bit for the last 2 match days.
What are we looking forward to tomorrow morning for Stan, Boz?
Well, all the groups A to D. The main game that we're going to have is FC Copenhagen versus Manchester United. We know Manchester United haven't been going through a great spell recently. They beat Copenhagen 2 weeks ago, but they were fortunate. Their goalkeeper, Andre Onana, Manchester United saved the penalty in the last minute. So Manchester United are on 3 points. Bayern Munich are in that group. They're on 9 points already. They're already qualified. Galatasaray are on 4 points. So it's a very important game for both teams. Copenhagen are very, very tough to beat at home. They didn't lose last season at home. And they're leading the Danish competition, which they've won the last 2 years straight. So it'll be a tough game. And the other game that stands out, that's our main game. The other game that stands out is Arsenal, coming off the back of that controversial defeat against Newcastle on the weekend. They take on Sevilla, which is another very, very close group in Group B. All the other, Real Madrid should go through tomorrow. They should beat Braga. PSV, Eindhoven in Arsenal's group play against Lens, Salzburg, Inter in Group D. And Real Sociedad versus Benfica, Napoli, Union Berlin as well. But those are the 2 main games that we're going to be concentrating on. And like I said, big game for Manchester United because of all the trouble that's been going with Manchester United and all the talk about the sale of the club. A lot of people said, well, Eric Ten Hag, the new manager, he should be the safest, he should be the safest ship in the port. But if they don't happen to qualify through this Champions League group, which is a very qualifiable group, and they continue to have their up and down form in the Premier League, the pressure's going to turn on him in a big way.
Hey, Boz, just that wind's really. Are you okay?
I hope you're a kite.
Yeah. Are you not on a
I'm
roof?
trying to walk
You're not
everywhere
on a roof,
trying to
are
find
you?
a spot where it's not so
Yeah,
windy.
Daceyville. I know where you're at. You're David Phillips Field, aren't you? Where it's just open.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right here at Union of New South Wales. It's a lovely facility.
It is lovely.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're up there with the seagulls just floating around.
No, it's just windy, buddy. It's just windy.
No, I know.
You're too
I
yindy.
know. Can we just talk about Ange for a second? I thought he handled himself really well
Yes.
in that press conference. What say you, MB?
Yeah, I think he did, and what he said was very, very good. But it must be said as well, he didn't. I don't think he really had any cause for complaint. They were well beaten, and the two players and decisions that they having sent off. Those two players are actually lucky to be on in the first place, especially in Doggy, who got sent off in the second half for a second bookable offence. But
what was his name?
What he said,
What was his name?
Udogi, how's that?
Yeah, a doggy.
Yeah, there you go.
Surely he's not last. His name's not. What's his style like?
You're a classic. They went ahead through Kulusevski. They were playing well. Chelsea, who are another team who had a real up and down side time, you have to say, fully deserved their win and really could have put the game away much earlier. It must be said. So this is where the confusion I think came in with a lot of people. From a tactical point of view, the line that he played in terms, and what I mean by that is how high he had his defenders. It was very, very risky. I think over risky. But one thing that his team can be, and the supporters can be very proud of, is that even when they went down to 9 men, they kept going to try to get an equaliser. It was only really, they had a really good chance through Son, close to the 90th minute, where it was saved by the Chelsea goalkeeper, and Chelsea went up the other end and scored. That sort of made it convincing. But I think a lot of people got, conflated the two issues, saying this is the way he plays. This is the way he plays, yes. But from a tactical perspective, they have to sort that out, because having that higher line is kind of like playing Russian roulette. All it takes is one decent through ball, and that can mean curtains. That's a big test now. And we've said this, he had a fantastic start, but we said there will be a big test coming when they have suspensions and injuries. Well, Romero, the doggy, will be out. Maddison, one of his good players, looks as though he's going to be out. Van de Ven, his centre back, he looked as though he's going to be out because he pulled a hamstring in that first half. Richarlison as well looks as though that he's going to be out. So this is going to be a true test of not only Ange's managing abilities, but also the depth of Tottenham's squad, because they've got Wolverhampton Wanderers away this week, and that won't be an easy game at all.
Hey, Boz, are you aligned with any A-League team? Do you do any coaching or
No.
any work with? What about young goalkeepers? Has anyone come to you and said?
Oh, yeah. If somebody I'm here now with my young boy. If somebody came up to me and said listen, could you just take my young son or young daughter for a session? No problem whatsoever. I say, yeah, if I've got time, of course I'll do it, but not an official role, no. And no. And look, I don't work in the A-League anymore. So, but when I did, I always thought that would be a little bit of a conflict for me to maybe work with just one team rather than give the benefit of my experience to everybody working on TV.
Yeah, what about the national team? Did you ever get down there and help out?
I'll go down and watch them, but I don't like to go down there in any type of way and to undermine, any of the manager or the current goalkeeper. I don't like to do that at all. I'll go down there more as a fan, just like I was when I was a young kid, and just watch them train, because I just love the game.
I've got another question too. The soccer players or football players, what does their training consist of? Are they in the gym a lot, or is it all just on the field?
Well, that depends on what time of season. And look, and you know that as well. If you look, let's just put it this way: if you want to be good at rugby league, your main training should be playing rugby league.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in our game, there's a lot of different types of, you could say, qualities that are involved in the fitness side. So you want your explosivity, but you also want to have, the endurance to make sure you can go throughout the whole game. Midfield runners will do, between 15 and 20 kilometres a game, but it's at a different pace to strikers and defenders will do. And as we know from a fitness perspective, running, sprinting can take, even if you do half the distance that somebody does at 3/4 pace, takes more out of you because it takes your central nervous system. So it depends on what time of the season. Just to sum it up quickly, off season, you're more doing the strength to build yourself up. As you get and the endurance, as you get towards the season, you're looking towards the explosive side, which is more important. But if you've got 3 games a week, you've got to be very, very careful of how many explosive sessions you do per week, because as we know, it not only takes out of your fast twitch fibers, but also your central nervous system. And you don't want to overload yourself, because then you suffer an injury, and then you can set yourself back up for 2 months.
Yeah, catch-22. What about whack-a-mole? I reckon that would be good down in Ulladulla. There's a fun land down there. Remember, whack-a-mole?
Yeah.
I reckon that would be...
What is it? What is it?
Well, there's moles. These moles
pop
pop
up.
up, and you just got to whack the mole. I reckon that.
That's your reflexes. So that would be all
great
right
for
a
you.
goalkeeper.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, for a goalkeeper,
Just
no
send
problem.
them down to Ulladulla and just whack moles all day.
No, very true. Goalkeepers training is different. It's more obviously hand-eye coordination. As the back pass rule has become more and more, you could say, prevalent in terms of the way teams play out from the back, they have had to become much, much better with their feet. But the majority of work for goalkeepers is about explosivity. And if you're talking about in the gym as well, and as you'll notice, explosivity as in short reps, short sets, but really explosive and moving force at a real fast speed, because you can get as big as you want, but if you're slow, it doesn't make any difference, right?
That's right. So you're a wealth of knowledge. Clubs should be clamouring over to get you.
Speaking of explosivity, Boz, yourself and Magnuson on Friday.
Yes.
How we go?
Really good, good. Yeah, and speaking about in the gym, boy, I tell you what, he looks like a bodybuilder. He looks brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Trainings's
really
on the
good.
gear.
And he was sorry.
Trainings's on the gear.
No,
I don't know.
No. He's been doing a lot of he's been doing the more bodybuilding weights. He looks absolutely fantastic. He hosted the show really well, mate. Really, really well. And look, there was a few things I wanted to say about what was going on at this moment with the A-League and so forth. And to be fair to him, he gave me the platform, and he also added his counsel, which is always important, I believe, because somebody from the outside, although people might say, well, hang on a minute, you haven't played the game. No, but they might be able to offer a different perspective that other people can't by watching it from afar. So it was really good. And Brooksy and Marky were good too. They're there listening to me right now. It was good. And we had a unbelievable amount of calls and texts and everything that came in. So which was good. Which just showed that there's a lot of people that still very much care about the game and the direction that it's going.
Was there any texts that sort of left you a bit perplexed, Boz, that came through? Random texts, all in a hurry at one time?
Really. No, not really. No, look, we were looking. Look, we look, no problem. There's problems everywhere. Everyone's got problems and so forth. So the difference being, I always try to make a difference. Say, all right, here's the problem. Let's not dwell on it. What are the solutions? And some of the solutions that came across from a whole range of people. Hopefully, like I said, some of them people will sit back and listen and say, you know what, these are our real, if you want to say customers. I don't like using that word, but these are the people. These are our shareholders of the game, the fans. Without them, we're not nothing, but we're nowhere near what we are without those fans. It's very, very important for any sport that the fans do have a say, that they do have their say, and then the people at the top make their decisions, and then people like us hold them to account. Simple as that.
Boz, you're quite famous in your own right. You're a celebrity. I'm watching Milli Vanilli at the moment. Did you ever meet Milli Vanilli?
No, I didn't.
No.
Wasn't it that guy that done that song and then they said it was false?
Yeah, they were lip syncing. So there's a documentary.
Yeah.
There's 2 dudes.
Yeah.
Rob and Fab.
No. Didn't meet Milli Vanilli, buddy.
Boz,
Didn't meet Milli
I want
Vanilli.
you
Why
to-
did you?
No, I would have loved to. I was about 15 or 16 when they came on. So they had Blame It on the Rain.
Yep.
Girl, Don't Lose My Number. What's the other one, Brooksy? Anyway.
Girl, you know it's true.
Girl, You Know It's True.
Yeah.
It's on Paramount Plus.
And anyway, I wanted to ask, let's go on to regularly. I wanted to ask you two a question. What was going on with that crowd between the Kiwis and Australia? How come there was so many?
Because it's November.
In Hamilton.
No one cares. It's November.
It was disappointing, though.
But why? It's international rugby. You've got to promote it. It's the future for you. We saw that in the World Cup. Yeah, especially if you spread the talent. It could be something really big. Well, I don't understand why. It wasn't a good look at all.
It wasn't a good look, but I can remember we moved Origin. It was all due to COVID. We moved it at the end of the year. People, for whatever reason, cricket's on.
Yeah.
They're just not interested.
Hey, Boz, what they are interested in, the listeners, Sula has text through and said, Boz was great on Friday. Did he end up on Julian King's show as well afterwards? What happened there?
Oh, because we had so many calls, and because as you both know, and as the other two there know, when I get on a roll, that I sometimes speak a little bit too much.
No,
we couldn't do all.
Wash your mouth out.
We couldn't do all the calls. So I felt bad because I thought these people have taken the time out and showed how much they cared by calling. The least I can do is to stay back on Julian King's show and ask him permission. Is it okay? Can I take the calls on his first 15 minutes? Which thankfully he did. And I said, thank you, to give the people, like I said, the right to speak.
And then you're on Cam Luke's show at midnight as well. Is that right?
I would have stayed there till midnight because, like I said to you, the fans for me are the most important people in any sport.
Mate,
Boz, you are a national treasure.
You are. And I tell you what, I ran into James, and I grew up, Boz, not knowing soccer so well, right? And this guy, James, up in the Gold Coast, he said, mate, trust me, Mark Bosnich was one of the most talented Australian athletes we have ever seen. He was waxing
that's very
lyrically.
nice of him. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much.
But you hadn't met Milli Vanilli. Are you sure, Boz? You'd never come across Milli Vanilli.
I'm telling you, Fletch, when we went to that AFL Grand Final with you and your mate Hindy that time, right? Now, and remember, I was actually, put it this way, I had lemonades all day. So remember, okay?
Right. Yeah.
I told you pretty much everything because I respected you both and I trusted you both. Did I ever mention during that day, which went on for about 8 hours, did I ever mention the name Milli Vanilli?
No, you didn't, but I don't remember much.
Thank you very much.
I don't remember much of that day. Boz.
Yeah, well, that doesn't matter, but I didn't mention that name, did I? So if I would have told you, I would have told you then, because in terms of questions and answers, I reckon you two asked me more questions that day.
Absolutely.
Than probably a Prime Minister gets asked over a period of 3.5 years.
Boz, you are like a bona fide celebrity. You were knocking around some of the great. Okay, Elton John. Have you met Elton John?
No.
Okay. Freddie Mercury.
I know where you're going with this.
I'm not going anything.
No, let's change the subject. Let's talk about Friday morning. Remember, after tomorrow, I know where you're going with this.
I'm not saying this.
Yeah, so that trust and that respect that I placed in you, don't abuse it.
I'm not abusing it. I'm not.
Yes, you are. I know where you're going. You're very strategic, Fletch. I know you better than you do.
I'm not.
Strategy.
No
Hey, Brian,
Yeah.
so this is the story that James told me.
Yep.
He said that, and Boz, I may get the names wrong here, whether it's the team. He said that Boz was a 14-year-old, and the first grade team, Marconi, I think it was, invited him down to trial or to train with them, and you smashed him, absolutely smashed him as a 14-year-old. Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Right.
14.
Yeah.
And then how did you end up? Who poached you to go over to England? Like
There was a chap over here called Alan Vest, who was originally from England. He used to run soccer camps at a place at Park Lee, and he would get the best boys from usually 13 to 16, and we'd go there on the holidays. And I was going on a holiday to Europe when I was 15 years of age, and he knew the youth team coach at Liverpool, so he arranged for a trial for me at the end of that holiday when I was there with mum and dad and my sister to go to Liverpool. And I was Kenny Dalglish, who was manager at the time, wanted to sign me. Dad wanted me to finish what was back then year 10. I don't know what they call it now, but year 10, that was the basic sort of finish the schooling, because it was around September time. But during that September, between that September '87 and say July '88, in between that time, Sir Alex Ferguson got in contact with the late Eddie Thompson, who used to be the national team coach, and flew me over in March of 1988, and basically at the end of 2 weeks sort of locked me in the room and sort of said, you're not going anywhere until you sign here. So that was it.
So what was his name? Vest. James Vest.
Alan Vest.
Alan Vest.
That's right.
So if it wasn't for Vesty, you wouldn't have been going overseas.
Well, there's a lot of people I could attribute that to. There was a goalkeeping coach over here. It was an ex-Australian international called Ron Corrie, who I could attribute pretty much everything to. He was absolutely outstanding for me, and he worked me very, very hard from age 12 until I left at age 16. And so little things like that. And very, very lucky to have parents who worked so hard to make sure that I had the opportunity to go and play professional football. Very fortunate.
Imagine how good you would have been if you had to go and whack-a-mole. You would have been, mate, absolutely even better than you were. I'm going to go play whack-a-mole.
You know what? I got to say, I told you this that day at the AFL Grand Final. You're lucky I didn't play rugby league. I would have come after you.
That's right. Hey, Boz, we've got to run, mate, but the board has lit up. They love the Boz. It's as simple as that. Mate, go and enjoy the Win convention, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you very much.
There
Thank
he
you
is.
very much.
Good
I
luck
will.
with that
Oh,
electricity
thank you.
hydro scheme. the other day.
Yeah. I love the Bozza. Watch every UEFA Champions League match exclusive and ad-free, live and on demand on Stan Sport. Plenty still to come. It's the run home with Joel and Fletch.
Wacky
Brian.
team, get your nominations in because there's an A grade hat coming your way or a Michael hat.
Can't wait.